Hey everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a bracelet today, a very simple little multiple row right angle weave bracelet. I'm going to use some of these 6mm fire polish beads I've got here. I'm going to use my 11/0 galvanized silver seed beads, and I have a toggle clasp and a couple of jump rings and a couple of wire guardians. I've done right angle weave videos before. The first one I did was showing how to do single row right angle weave. The next right angle weave video I did was showing how to do multiple row right angle weave. And I've had a lady comment, and she's left-handed, and she's trying to learn how to do the right angle weave with the multiple rows. And she's having a hard time because I can imagine how hard it would be if you're watching somebody who's right-handed do it and try to convert it to left-handed. Any of these stitches would be hard to learn trying to watch somebody who's right-handed and then trying to convert it to left-handed. I can only imagine how hard it would be if I was watching somebody that was left-handed and tried to convert it to right-handed. And right angle weave can be difficult for anybody, no matter what your dominant hand is. It can be difficult for anybody. I know that it's hard for left-handed people. My brother is very, very left-handed. And he has always struggled because the world just seems to be designed more for people who are right-handed. So I understand that it's hard for left-handed people. Like I said, I am very right-handed, so I don't know how much help I'm going to be, but I'm going to try to do this in the direction that I think a left-handed person would probably do it in, and maybe it will help some. She said the first row is not giving her a problem. It's not hard. It's when you add on the second row, and she's having a hard time knowing where to put the 11/0s. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm using my 8-pound Fireline and Smoke, and I've got a size 11 beading needle, and I'm using my chain nose pliers to flatten the thread to get it through my needle, and I'll be using my chain nose pliers and my bent chain nose pliers to put my clasp on at the end, and I'm using my scissors to cut my Fireline with. I think that's everything. So hold on, and I'll get some of my beads poured out, and I'll try to get started. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got some of my beads out here, and I've got my needle threaded, and I've got a stop bead on here, and I'm just leaving about a 6-inch tail, just enough to sew in. So when I did the first right angle weave video, the single row, I didn't make the 11/0s part of the right angle weave unit. I picked up my 4 fire polish beads and sewed them in a circle, and then I added the 11/0s in the corners on the second pass around. You can do it either way. I do it when I use these bigger beads because it helps to hide the thread, because these bigger beads can show a lot of thread. If I use smaller beads like 3 or 4mm or seed beads, I don't usually do that. But with these bigger beads, I do. To do multiple row, though, it's easier to make the 11/0s part of the right angle weave unit, to pick them up as you go. So that's what I'm going to do here. I've got 4 of my fire polish beads and 4 of my 11/0s. And I'm going to sew them into a circle here. And now I'm going to sew around it all again to reinforce it, because these beads are big and they're hard to, they're loose if you don't reinforce at least once. I'm going to sew around until I'm coming out the fire polish bead opposite my stop bead. So I'm going to put my stop bead over here to the right, where usually I would put it to the left. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So each of my units is going to have 4 11/0s and 4 fire polish beads. So I'm coming out just the fire polish bead. I'm going to pick up And I've got one of the fire polish beads that I'm going to use for my next unit already. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and a fire polish bead and an 11-0 for this bottom part of my next unit. I'll pick up a fire polish bead for this other side of my next unit, and then for the top I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a fire polish bead, and an 11-0. So I've got four 11-0s and 3 fire polish beads because I'm sharing this fire polish bead. So I'm trying to do this. I usually sew left to right, so I'm trying to do this right to left like I think probably a left-handed person would do it. So I'm coming out the bottom of this fire polish bead. I'm going to go on the top. And make my next right angle weave unit with 4 fire polish beads and 4 11-0s. So now I'm going to sew around all this again to reinforce it. Until I'm coming out this fire polish bead here on the end to make my next unit. Just on around all the 6mm beads and all the 11-0s in this last unit that I made here. I'm going to come out this fire polish bead. Now I'm going to try to turn back around here. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm sharing this fire polish bead. So I need an 11-0 and a fire polish bead and an 11-0 for the bottom of this next unit. I need a fire polish bead for this other side, and then I need an 11-0, a fire polish bead, and an 11-0 for the top here. So I've got 4 fire polish beads and 4 11-0s and 3 fire polish beads because I'm sharing this fire polish bead. So I'm coming out the bottom of this fire polish bead. I'm going to go on the top of it. And now I'm going to flip it around here and I'm going to sew around all the beads again. Try not to get a knot in my thread. I'm going to sew around until I'm coming out this fire polish bead on the end here. Now I'm going to keep doing that until I get the length that I want, and then I'll come back and start on the second row. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got my length here. Actually, this is as long as I can make it with the amount of beads I've got, but I think it'll be all right. And now I need to make a strip next to this strip. And this can be a little complicated, but I'm going to try to do the best I can to show this. I need to be coming out of this bead here in order to make my unit next to this box. So I need to sew through this fire polish bead, this 11-0, and this fire polish bead, just the fire polish bead. Now, like my units down here, each unit is going to have 4 6mm and 4 11-0s. And I'm only going to be sharing this one fire polish bead. So I need to pick up 3 more fire polish beads with 11 O's between. So I'm going to pick up an 11 O, a fire polish, an 11 O, a fire polish, an 11 O, a fire polish, and an 11 O. So I've got three fire polish and 4 11 O's. And I'm coming out of, get these down my needle so I can get a hold of my needle here. I'm coming out this side of this fire polish. I'm going to go into the other side. So that gives me another unit with 4 fire polish and 4 11 O's. Now I'm going to sew back around all of them again to strengthen it. The 11 O's and the fire polish beads, I'm just going to sew around all of them. Now to make this next unit here, I need to be coming out either this bead or this bead. I'm coming out of this bottom fire polish here between these two 11 O's. I can't go straight through because I have to sew at right angles. So I'm going to have to go up here into this fire polish bead. I'm going to go up into this fire polish bead. Try not to get caught around my whole piece here. Which I think I have done. There we go. Now, this unit, I need to have 4 fire polish beads and 4 11 O's. I'm only going to be sharing this fire polish bead and this fire polish bead. So I need 2 more fire polish beads and 4 11 O's. So up here I need an 11 O, a fire polish bead, and an 11 O. For the top there. Then I need a fire polish bead and 11 O on this side. So that's my other two fire polish beads I need, and 3 of the 4 11 O's I need. So I'm going to go through this fire polish bead, just the fire polish bead. Now I need an 11 O between these 2 fire polish beads, so that's where my 4th 11 O comes in. I'm going to go into this fire polish bead. And the way you know you've got what you're supposed to have is you'll always have 4 11 O's here in this little intersection. So now I'm going to sew around the whole unit again to reinforce. I'm just sewing around the fire polish beads and the 11 O's that I just added, and that one I connected to. And I'm going to sew around until I'm coming out of this fire polish bead here, so that I can make my next unit. Now I'm going to be sharing this fire polish bead and this fire polish bead for my next unit. I need an 11 O between them, so I'm going to pick up an 11 O and go into this fire polish bead. So I have 4 11 O's there in that intersection. Now I just need to finish this unit, so I need 2 more fire polish beads with 11 O's between. So I need an 11 O, a fire polish bead, an 11 O, a fire polish bead, and an 11 O. So that's 3 11 O's and 2 fire polish beads, And I already put my 1 11-0 in there, so that makes a total of 4 11-0s and 4 fire polish beads. So I'm going to go into this fire polish bead. Now I'm going to sew around this again. I'm going to sew through that 11-0 that I just now added, the first one I added in this little box, on into the fire polish bead and around the whole unit again to reinforce it. Now I need to be coming out of, like that first unit, I need to be coming out one of these two. And I can't go straight through because that's not a right angle, so I need to go up into this 11-0 in this fire polish bead. So I'm sharing these 2 fire polish beads. So I need an 11-0, a fire polish bead, and an 11-0 for the top. I need a fire polish bead and an 11-0 on this side, so I'm going to take a fire polish bead and an 11-0. And now I've got to go into this. I've got 3 of my 11-0s, and I will have 2 of my, or all 4 of my fire polish beads. So I'm going to go into this fire polish bead. And I'm going to pick up an 11-0 to put here in between these 2 fire polish beads. And I've got my little 4 11-0s there in that intersection. Now I'm going to sew around all these again to reinforce. All the 11-0s that I just added and the fire polish beads. Now I need to be coming, I'm going to be sharing these 2 fire polish beads with my next unit. So I need to come into this 11-0 and this fire polish bead. So I need 2 more fire polish beads and 4 11-0s. So I need to put an 11-0 between these 2 fire polish beads, because all my fire polish beads have to have 11-0s between them. And now I just need the rest of my fire polish beads and 11-0s. So I need 2 more fire polish beads with 11-0s between them. So I need an 11-0, fire polish bead, 11-0, fire polish bead, and 11-0. So that's the rest of my fire polish beads and the rest of my 11-0s. So I need to come around here and go into this fire polish bead. And now I just need to sew around all the 11-0s and fire polish beads to reinforce this. And then I need to sew till I'm coming out of this fire polish bead down here. I'm just going to be coming out the fire polish bead. Now I'll do this one more time and then I'll do the rest of it off camera. So I need 2 more fire polish beads and all 4 of my 11-0s. So I'm going to pick up an 11-0, fire polish bead, 11-0, fire polish bead, and an 11-0. That's 3 of my 11-0s and my other 2 fire polish beads. I'm going to go into this fire polish bead, just the fire polish bead. Now I need to have an 11-0 between these 2 fire polish beads here. Which makes 4 11-0s in that little intersection there. Now I'm going to sew all around this again, and then I'm going to sew till I'm coming out of this fire polish bead and make my next unit. And then I'm going to finish the rest of it off camera, and then when I come back I'll put the clasp on it. So I'll be back. Okay, I've got this all done now. Now I'm going to add on my wire guardian, and I already did it on this end. I had to just add in a new thread and do it on this end. I could have done it while I was down here after I made this first, after I started making my second strip here. I could have sewed back up through here and added the wire guard, which is what I usually would have done. But I was afraid if I did all that sewing around and stuff, it would get too confusing, because this was already, I was afraid, going to be kind of confusing how to do this. So I just added a new thread in and did it on this end. So now I'm going to do it on this end. So I'm coming out of this last unit here that I added. I'm going to sew across here until I'm coming out of this 11-0 right here. And I forgot when I did my materials list that I was going to need an 8-0 on each end for my clasp. So I got an 8-0 for each end out. So I'm picking up 2 11-0s and 1 8-0. I'm going to go through my wire guardian, one channel of my wire guardian. Now I'm going to go down the other channel and back into the 8-0. I'm going to hold on to my wire guardian so the thread lands in the channel. Now I'll pick up 2 more of my 11-0s. And I'm going to go in this other 11-0 right here between the beads and on through that fire polish bead. And I'm going to straighten that up there. Now, it's hard to, well, that's wanting to get twisted. Okay, now come on. There we go. Now, I need to be coming out these 11-0s pointing toward the inside. One of them, doesn't matter which one. And I have tried, when I did this other side, it's pretty much impossible to sew at right angles and be coming out the way I need to. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to turn my thread around here. I'm going to make a 1/2 inch knot right here. I'll go under that thread bridge and go through my loop. Pull my thread down slowly. Now I'm going to go back through this bead. Back through this 11-0. I'm going to go back up these 2 11-0s and this 8-0 and back into my wire guardian. Go back down the other channel of my wire guardian and back into the 8-0. Hold my finger over the wire guardian so the thread lands in the channel. Now I'm going to go down these 2 11-0s on this side and back into that 11-0 and that fire polish bead. And now I'm just going to do that again. I'm going to turn my thread around again. I'm going to make a 1/2 inch knot. Go under this thread bridge. Go up into the loop. Go back through this fire polish bead. Back into that 11-0. And now I'm just going to go around my wire guardian again. And then I'm going to make, I don't know if I've got enough thread to make 3 1/2 inch knots, but I'm going to try. And then I'll put my clasp on. I'll just do that off camera. Y'all have seen me put clasp on before. You don't need to see that. And when I come back, we'll see what I've got. So I'll be back. Okay, so this is my finished bracelet. And as you can see, I switched out my clasp. When I got it done, this was as many beads as I had. So I had to make it this short. I couldn't make it any longer. And when I put the toggle on, it came out to just about 6 inches, even with the toggle. So I switched it for a lobster clasp and a jump ring, and I got a couple of inches of extender chain here, and I put a little flower charm that I had in my stash on the end of my extender there. So that it would be long enough. So that's what I've got. Let's put it together here. That's what it looks like. I hope it was not confusing. I know it was a little bit more complicated than the other multiple row right angle weave video I did. That's probably why I didn't do it that way on the first one, because I was just trying to show how to do multiple rows of right angle weave, and I didn't want to get too complicated, and this is just a little bit more complicated. And I hope it was helpful to the lady that was having trouble because of watching me do it right-handed when she was left-handed. Like I said, I know that can be difficult and challenging. I hope y'all have enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope y'all have a great day. Take care.